Hi everybody, it's me again, Charles Norman Sports Solutions LLC. We are the creators of AthleticSOS. It is a software, absolutely no cost for you to use. If your kid's trying to get an athletic scholarship, you want to use our software. We will find the schools that they academically qualified to attend that offer athletic scholarship opportunities for their sport. Down below, I give you a code. I give you information on how to use the code. Please use the software. We're growing crazily now because of that House versus NCAA settlement that just came in early July. It is mid-July now. And so things are starting to fall out on that end. One of the things I want to talk about in this, we're focused on the youth, 5 to 17-year-old. Our software, the things that we develop, the programs that we've developed are all center around that youth sports component. We're not as much interested in the athletic scholarship, except for the fact that we want our kids to get there. If they have the talent, the work ethic, everything that they need to get there, we want to make sure they know all their options and opportunities, and that's what our software does. But we're really focused on that journey from 5 to 17. How do we make that worth it? And so that's what I want to talk about in this one. So I'm going to probably title this one something like Youth Sports is Rigged, but you can still win. And that's an ode to a friend of mine named Andre Taylor. He has a book called You Can Still Win. And it's a great book about resilience and things like that in life. And everybody should get that. I don't get anything from that, but he's a great friend, great book. I've read it. It's really an inspirational type of book you want to read. It's great for your kids too to read. We can still do this thing. So what do I mean by youth sports is rigged? This is a kind of this has been going around for a while, but it's kind of out in the open now. There's a little gilded wall that's going on right now that kind of focuses on the kids from former high-level college professional athletes, their kids. They're playing in a different lane than everybody else is. And I don't think a lot of people pay attention to it because it used to be if you went to a tournament or a showcase or an opportunity like a combine, you could still get in the room with them, at least compete against those kids. But now those kids are sort of walled off in a world where the trainers that are working with them, the nutritionists that are working with them, the workouts, the thought mindset from coming with being an elite athlete, plus the DNA from one of their parents, or both of their parents in that case, a lot of times, is giving them an advantage, an on-ramp that most people just can't get into that world. But if you are super talented, you're on this side of the wall, they will find you and they'll invite you. So it's sort of a gilded wall over there. But one of the things that happened, and I want to go back to the college world, when this House versus NCAA settlement, everybody talks about the NIL, which they're leaning on really heavily. They talk about the revenue share now, that the D1, the powerhouse conferences, have to share part of their revenue up to $20 million, $20.5 million with the athletes at the program for that school. Now, this is only NCAA Division I. Remember, NCAA Division II, Division III, NAIA, they're not playing by the same rules yet. I don't know what's coming in the future, but right now we're just talking about NCAA Division I. And so those are the two big things. And then finally, you have your cost of attendance, right? That's what we used to think of as an athletic scholarship, your tuition, your room and board, any fees, parking, all of that stuff. Books, everything was included in that. We thought of that as in the athletic scholarship. But now the athletic scholarship has those three parts, right? So you have the cost of attendance, you have revenue share, and you have the NIL. So each one of those you're negotiating separately. So understand that, parents. It's gotten more complicated for you if you want your kid to get an athletic scholarship. But that's not even what I want to talk about here. I'm going to really dig into that. It's kind of jumbled right now. People are kind of playing around with that. We're not sure where it's going to go or where it's going to really land. I think it's going to be confusion for at least a year or two. But another little component in there that everybody just sort of overlooked. There used to be this head count versus equivalency when you got an athletic scholarship. A head count scholarship meant you got a full ride to that school. That cost of attendance, everything was covered for you. And for men at the Division I level, it was basketball, football. That was pretty much it for men. You got a full ride scholarship for basketball and football, no questions asked. For women, it was basketball, volleyball, gymnastics, and tennis. And so if you got one of those full ride, D1, NCAA, you had everything. Your cost of attendance was all covered, which was great. But everybody else got what was called an equivalency deal. And so an equivalency deal could be anything from 10% of the tuition to go to the school and all of your cost of attendance, or it could be 50%. It just depended. So each sport got a certain number of slots of what we called full ride, which was the cost of attendance, the full cost of attendance, but they had to split it up amongst maybe 25, 30 players, right? So that was the big difference. So you might not get everything you needed. And back then, a lot of people would just say, hell, my kid got this athletic scholarship, but it really wasn't a full ride. They still had to pull some money out of their pocket, or what was even better was your kid had great academics. That's why the coach chose you, and they gave you some academic scholarship money along with your athletic scholarship money, and it really bridged that gap. So that made a lot of sense back then. But nobody ever said that. Everybody just said, oh, my kid got an athletic scholarship. So they still were taking on loans, the kids. And what we're trying to do is make sure our kids don't come out of college with debt. To me, this was the biggest mistake the people from my generation and the generation behind me made. We put our kids in this situation where they were paying all this money to go to school, and then the jobs over time did not match up. You couldn't make the salary to pay that off. And everybody used to say, oh, just get an extra job or just live meagerly for a while. And really for our daughters, this was a big deal because they have to live in a certain area. They have to be safe. The kind of car they're driving, they can't just get it out the mud, so to speak, like our boys could pull off a lot of times. And so they've been saddled with this debt for a long time with the interest rates on this debt. It's just crazy. And now it's hit where a lot of them were going into fields that allowed them to get that debt paid off, that student loan debt paid off. Over time, they had all these special programs. If you worked as a teacher or you worked in the community or you were in a social thing or you got a government job, all these different things gave you an opportunity to kind of weed that down and get credit for it, and then it would come off the back end of what you owed. That's over with now. And I don't think it's coming back. I know everybody thinks, if we put the other party in, they're going to be able to bring it back. But the way it looks to me is the parties kind of work in unison. It's just one big party with two different ends of it, but they all play the same game. Now, that's my opinion. But let's let that go for a while. What we want to talk about is a little minor change in there that I think makes a huge difference. That equivalency hard count or head count situation went away. And what that means is now the sports at the collegiate level, now they just have a certain number of people that they can put in, and you can give everybody a full ride. There's no rules for how many kids you can give a cost of attendance scholarship to. Now, if I'm a good player and I'm playing D1, I'm finding a school that's going to give me everything I need to go to that school at no cost, at the minimum. I'm not talking about revenue share, how much that is going to be. I'm not talking about the NIL, what kind of deals do they have there. If I can go to school for free and get a few bucks out of the revenue share and get a couple of NIL deals, maybe I can do some of the stuff on my own, I'm going for that. Because now I can go ahead and get this education and at least gives me an advantage. I know it's not a big advantage as it was before, but there is an advantage to it. So that's the way I look at it. So looking at that means all the sports could basically be a cost of attendance sport. And so that changes youth sports. And that's what I want to kind of talk about today. Now, I get every year, we've been doing this for quite a while now, I get the same parents at the high school levels, especially around 13, 14. The parents come to me and they are really disillusioned about high school, right? The coach is not letting my kid play. They couldn't even make varsity, had to play JV. He's playing politics. These parents that have money are doing this. And it's a whole rigmarole, right? They're not getting their stats up because they're playing this style versus that style. And so I always tell them the same thing. I always tell them, I said, you can make up for it in your travel club experience and then still participate really well and get along with that high school coach. And because college coaches are going to go to your high school coach no matter what. They're going to ask questions. But I get what they're frustrated about. Their kids probably can't play. Probably can play better than one of the kids that's playing at the varsity level. And maybe even they're on varsity, but they're not starting. But that's up to the coach. I don't think you can fix that. Now, you can change schools, but that's your kid. You decide how you want to play that. Your kid is going to school with friends of theirs or people that they grew up with. Is that worth more than them, getting this star position on the high school team? You guys have to make that kind of determination. But I want to go even further back because here's the biggest thing that I found. Most kids don't get an athletic scholarship for a variety of reasons, but one of the biggest reasons is they're playing the wrong sport. They're good athletes. They understand the game. They've been working since 5, 6, 7 years old on this sport. Baseball, basketball, football, soccer, those are the big ones, right? They're good, but there's other people that were born to play this sport, I guess is the best way to put it, that are just elite level athletes sometimes. But sometimes it's not really even an athletic sport. It could be golf or something like that, but they just have a knack for it. And I think that's where a lot of parents make their mistake. They don't let their kids try out enough sports to find the sport that really is that kid. That kid walks into, there's a field, there is just, this kid should be doing this. Now they could play the other sports too. So I always think kids should have two sports. The one that they just naturally fit. There's a flow. They go out there. There's very little effort early on. Like they just get it. It just works for them. And it's hard to find those sports, right? Because how much time you have as a parent, you got to go to work, you got other things to do. You don't even know where to learn sailing or archery or something like that. But you can get an athletic scholarship in those sports. There's 30 plus sports you can get an athletic scholarship in. But everybody focuses on baseball, basketball, football, so almost sports that everybody knows about, that everybody starts off as a youth. And there's athletic scholarship potential there. And in some of those sports, if you got really good, you can go pro and you can make a bunch of money. I get it. That makes sense. And you can play all of those sports. But then whatever one of those sports your kid's really interested in, go ahead and find another sport that's off season from that, that is one of those other, call it Olympic sports. Look for one of those, see if your kid fits one of those too, and now you've got two trails that you're playing against, right? So I think that's a huge one for me. Sports discovery at the younger age could make all the difference, and you get an athletic scholarship. And with these new rules at the collegiate level, this makes most sense for me. All right, so those are the kind of things that I want the parents to start thinking about. But we're about something a little bit different, because it still comes out to my kids now 17, they're leaving out of high school, they didn't really get a good athletic scholarship opportunity. We spent all that time from 5 to 17 preparing with the idea that we were going to be one of the few that got that opportunity. And so it feels like it's a waste. And this is what I really want to talk about in this one. This is where we sort of switch from the athletic piece of it. The reason I push sports for kids is there's a combination of all the lessons you learn. You always hear about that, work, teamwork, all of that kind of stuff, discipline, time management, learn how to be a winner, loser, how to really compete against other people in the world, which is what most parents really want from their kid. Even the parents that put their kids in recreationally, if their kid is not holding their own out there, not that they're going to be the best out there all the time, but they just want them to learn to fight back, push back against somebody. This is the only place that I know of where that opponent is trying to beat you physically. I'm not saying other things you can be in. You can be in the math and science Olympics. You can be in all kind of music. There's other things you could be doing, but nobody else is physically trying to prevent you from winning. And so that's what we kind of want from our kids, because we know how tough the world is out there. And so that's what parents get into. Even though they're recreational parents, they get really disappointed when their kid is meek and just lets things happen to them. You can't do that. You can't survive in this world. So you watch that all the time. I've seen that over and over again. The parents, well, it's not that big a deal, whatever. Then they get out there and their kid is just letting somebody, and then their kid is letting their teammates down if it's a team sport. Parents do not like that. So they will get on their kids' case. You can hear them walking back to the car. Hey, listen, you're going to have to step up a little bit. You can't just be out there scared or not competing. We're not going to have it. And so that's where you always hear these parents overdoing everything. That's where it's coming from. It's coming from a good heart. Like, I can't have my kid this way. They got to want to do it. But if you find a sport your kid's already connected to, that it feels right, it is their sport, they will blossom quickly. Because they will feel like they are in control of what's going on. And I think parents miss that a lot of time. But you still want to push them in the areas where, they're playing a sport and they got to learn, hey, you got to dig in a little bit here. So that's part of it. The other piece that I wanted to talk about was, as our kids move forward in their lives, and I'm at a grandkid now, right? So I've got grandkid now. Their future is about the people that they know, their ring. We already kind of knew this, your network, the 5 people that in your life are going to be the most influential about how your life's going to go. We've heard all that stuff. But for your kids, it's going to be different. They are going to need those people. They cannot grow up, get good grades, go to college, get a great job, start a family, take their vacations, have a car, maybe do a little bit better. That world's over. You can't do that with a single thing you're doing in your life. You're going to have to do multiple things. And it's going to be a lot. You're going to be a parent, you got a job, you try to get all this stuff done, but you got to do one more thing to make it in the future. It's not going to be the way it was before. They don't need a bunch of employees anymore. I'm telling you, AI, it's going off the rails right now, and it's moving so fast. They will not need a lot of us. Nobody's pushing paper anymore in an office making, $98,000 a year, $135,000 a year, $230,000 a year. Government jobs are going to shrink. They don't have the money to pay for a lot of people, and there's no need for a lot of people in the back room. So a college degree, I don't care if it's your bachelor's, your master's, your PhD, whatever you have, your doctorate, everything that you're doing, it really won't matter a lot unless you're bringing ideas. And the second piece is, and I know we've already had this in college with your fraternities and sororities and things like that. You kind of had a network, but that network is not going to be able to get you a job anymore. What you need now are good people in your life. This is number one. I don't care how great everybody else is or how much they know and all that kind of stuff. If they're not good people, you're still going to lose. They're not going to help you get past them. Good people want you to do the best you can no matter what. That's how you determine whether somebody's a good person. So as I'm doing business, this is one of the things I'm finding out. Really good people, I'm not talking about nice people and people that can help you move a little bit in the direction you want. Do they want you, are they okay with you doing better than them? That's how you know somebody's a good person. They're actually happy for you to move forward because they know they need to get their butts going if they want to get back past you. That's the kind of competition you want. That's first of all. So the good people thing. Then the next thing you want to do is you want to have people that are going to do stuff. That's the other thing that I've been doing in my business. I've really connected with people that have already done stuff because I've already done something. I built something. And so when you get in the room with people that talk, that's not what you want. You want your kids to get around people that actually go out and do things without everybody else having to help them on everything. And then I think the third piece on that, you're building up a bunch of assets. And I don't like to call people assets, but assets are experiences. So you're going and you're playing sports. You get indoors that other people don't get in, other kids that don't get in, and you get to see things and you're traveling and you're going place to place. And so what you want to be able to do is you want to start building up these assets. This is that knowledge. But you're also, people are kind of assets a little bit too. So you're trying to find these good people that will do things that also have access. Maybe the parent, maybe the grandparent, maybe they know somebody. So in sports, you can put your kid in environments that allow them to sort of rub elbows with people that are in areas that you're not. And it's very easy to do. And that's why I always talk about those other sports. So your baseball, basketball, football, soccer, softball, those sports we know, gymnastics, that we know. But where are the parents that have some connections? Where are they hanging out? Try one of those sports. Sailing is a great one for me. I don't know about fencing and archery and all, but there's certain sports where certain types of people hang out, I guess is the best way to put it. And if your kid gets there, they get a different view of the world. And maybe they're one of those kids and maybe they want to look back the other way. What about other people in the world, especially if you're wealthy? What about if your kid is able to play or be a part of something that other people are doing and they get to play against those best of the best? So it can go both ways. But those are the kind of things that I want to talk about. And then as a parent, this is your opportunity to kind of mold and be able to hang out with your kids, especially when they hit that 12 to 17 age group. They do not want to hang out with you. They don't want to hear from you. But if you're part of their world for athletics, you're already taking them to practice. You guys are going to the games. You're going to the tournaments. And you got other stuff you're doing over here. But those are the moments where you sort of have a captured audience. And so now you can say, hey, you know what? Once we're over there, I know you like this. I also made it so that after the game, we can go do this. And then we'll go get something to eat. And so it could be something cool. You could be, we're going to museums. We're going out to the beach. We're going, and they got their friends in the car with them. Take them with you, especially if their friends' parents are busy. You can be a real role model for those kids too. Hey, we're just going to go do that. They're going to ignore you. I'm going to tell you that. I've had kids. So they will ignore you at that point. They're going to run off and be cooler than cool and you're lame and all that cool stuff. But you can get them in environments where they can learn and be around people that don't necessarily, they would never come in contact with if it wasn't for the sport. That's what we want to do. And then the final thing, and this is for all of those organizations that are putting on all these tournaments and things like that. Make a piece of this where these kids can meet each other. I know they're competing with each other. I know the coaches and all these organizations like to separate. Hey, don't sit next to them. Everybody's got their bags and their shirts and their jerseys on and all that kind of stuff. And we don't know each other and we're enemies, all of that. Forget all that nonsense. We got to move differently now. And the way we want to move now is these kids need to meet each other. You don't know which kids are going to click together. And so these are the kind of things that I think are going to change. So youth sports it's rigged. There's going to be a coach. He's going to have his kid on the team. His kid's going to play the best position on the team. They're going to play a style that matches their kid's thing. There's that gilded wall that you can't seem to jump, and it seems unfair over here. And then the organizations are charging more and more and more and more money just to come to the tournament, to park, to get refreshments, to be a part of the organization. And so they're weeding people out. And the bigger organizations are going to take kids from the smaller organizations because they have the connections to one of the apparel companies, your Nikes, your Reeboks, your Adidas, whatever is going on over there. It's rigged. That's life. Life is rigged. Get your kid in, move around, find out where they fit, where you want them to be. Here's the last thing I'm going to say about this, and this is why I'm so excited about youth sports and the future of youth sports now. It was going down a kind of raggedy road there for a little while, but I think this change at the collegiate level, that every single sport you can now get your full cost of attendance for college is now there. There's no rails there. So if you can find your right sport, excel in that, play another sport that is more, you have a possibility of making a bunch of $1 million if you go pro, whatever you guys want to do, or make the Olympics or something like that. That's all cool, but parents, this is the time where you control your kids' access. In school, they're making them do certain things. All these other areas, they're making them do things. But with sports, you can control how your kid moves in this world. And these are the life lessons that come with sports anyway. It's already there. And so I'm an advocate for sports, period, especially youth sports. because it is a place where you can make moves. You can put your kids in the best position. And what we're trying to do is allow your kids to have what I call a remarkable life. Well, a successful life is maybe part of being remarkable. But I think the future comes to, can I think? Do I have ideas? Do I have, and you know, I would love to wear this shirt everywhere. Curiosity, imagination. Allow them to daydream. Allow them to dream big. Don't snatch it away, because it will be the key to the future, and it will be the key to them being valuable to that other group, right? That you can come in, that you see things differently than everybody else, and that is experiences that you have away from the sport, but within the sport, away from all the other things that are going on that are normal about attending school and moving through the school process. It's, do you have ideas? Do you see things? Can you come in and make what we're trying to do better? And are you a good person? Are you a person that looks out for other people while you're looking out for yourself? All of that stuff develops who you are, and that is going to be your key to success. Your kid's key to success is that. Do I see you? I'm 25, I'm 30. My parents have access. They've got me here, here, and here, but I need to do something on my own. I remember Johnny. I remember Susie from back in I know they got a chance to play at the collegiate level. Or I remember them at high school when I quit playing. You know, I may have stopped at 12 years old. They kept playing. They were the star, but they were still cool with me. They still hung out with me. They still spoke with me. We still did things together. That is the key to your kid's future. We're going to leverage their athletic ability to go on to lead a remarkable life. I hope you guys join me with this. Inside of AthleticSOS, I've added some key features for that younger group. I know everybody looks at it as a high school discovery thing for which colleges I can go to, which have my sport, which offer athletic scholarships, who the coaches are, you know, those kind of things. I have all of that in there. That's cool. So if your kid's 13 and up, you have to use AthleticSOS. But I'm putting some pieces in, and I'm working with some great organizations right now we're starting to look into that younger kid. What can we do there? And everything I just talked about I'm loading in there. You guys come join me on this. So if you guys have any questions, if you have an organization and you guys want to kind of figure out what we're trying to do, what we're trying to pull off, go ahead and write me. You can write me at info@AthleticSOS, and it will come to one of our people, and then they'll let me know if it's fit. Put on there, hey, I want to join, or I want to be part of what you're doing, something like that in the subject line. Letter, and then I will set you guys up. My goal, I won't talk about my business goals and the way I'm running this, but if you guys are good people, you guys are in. I'll make sure that you can get in. We can all work together. And if there's something I'm doing with my software that can help enhance your program, let me know, and I'll make sure that's available to you too. We're on this cool journey, and the NCAA versus House, that settlement is going to help us achieve that journey in such a bigger way. And so everybody keep doing what you're doing. All you organizations, all you small travel club coaches, all you people that are involved in that youth sports world, keep doing what you're doing. You're not doing anything wrong. You guys are doing the best you can. I just want to be a part of what you guys are doing so that we can change this a little bit, so that no matter how far these kids go in youth sports, it turns out on the other end to have benefited them once they leave sports. And no matter how far they go in sports, that they're like, okay, this was cool. This was my world for a while. I've got all these other assets I built up through the years, basically interior and exteriorly. So those are the things that we want to do. And I'm going to go on and I'm going to change this world. And that's what we want to do. We want to get all those kids together. All right, guys, as always, best of luck to you guys in everything you're doing. I'm going to do a big one next week on what I think is going to happen at that collegiate level, because I think this is an exciting time there. Everything has changed completely. And then we're going to start digging in a little bit more into that youth sports piece and what's going on and what we can do as we start moving through the summer. There's going to be a lot of disappointment. There's going to be a lot of excitement for a lot of families. And we start to get into the new school year where everybody's trying to make that team or do whatever they're doing. And a lot of people are trying to figure out, okay, this travel club program did not work for me this summer. What do I do? Do I move? How do I handle this? We're going to talk about all that stuff and all the combines and showcases and all those things you went to. You got a lot going on during the summer. So let's take it and learn lessons from it and then move forward. How do we move forward correctly? Because I think you guys have a lot of options now based on what happened at the collegiate level. All right, guys, as always, best of luck to you in all your endeavors, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.